Hi, I'm Brandy Henson. I'm here to give you a video presentation and a reflection over a few methods that we have discussed in this course. The first method that we are going to talk about is standardize the format, and we actually view a clip from Miss Ruler's class. From this video, I learned a few really important things. For example, I saw that having students follow a format is really beneficial when scanning the classroom for understanding. I learned that Miss Ruler did a really great job of repeating the key words to the students. She wanted them to learn the word disposition, and I heard her repeat it numerous times so that the students really became familiar with it. She also gave specific directions to students, and so I was able to see how this how this method really works whenever you're telling a student what they need to do, and that helps you be able to look in a specific spot to see how students are understanding. It's a very quick way to gather data, which I observed. And I saw Miss Ruler demonstrating parallel processing, which is checking for understanding while students are working. So she's walking up and down the aisles, observing what the students are writing on their paper. This information really impacted my thinking because it proved to me that assessments can be done quickly. We do not have to do large projects and tests every single time. We can do really quick methods just to get a general understanding of where students are with the lesson. And it also shined a really positive light on handouts and packets. I usually don't see myself as a really big fan of handouts and paperwork. I like hands-on activities and experiments, things to get students moving. But this showed me that it's not always a bad idea to have students writing on papers or handouts or packets. Just as this says, standardize the format is one of the most powerful tools for streamlining data gathering and making your observation more efficient. I saw that this is a very efficient way to see where students are in understanding the lesson. And it also made me see how well we can assess students even in a fast pace. We don't have to go slow, and I don't need to be scared to sometimes pick up the pace a little bit. From the video, I took away a few things that I will use in my classroom. For example, the parallel processing. I believe that I will use that definitely in my classroom because I saw how efficiently it worked for Miss Ruler whenever she was trying to see whether or not students were understanding. I also will standardize the format on select subjects to gather data quickly. Not going to be appropriate in every single case. There's a time and a place for different methods, and this will definitely work better in certain areas and at different times, but I can definitely see myself using it in my classroom just to gather a really quick assessment of if my students are understanding what I'm saying. Also, I'm going to really be vigilant about adjusting my teaching to ensure that all students are getting a great understanding. Miss Ruler did this in her video whenever she was talking about disposition. She noticed very quickly that students were under the impression that disposition had one definition when in fact it was not correct, and she changed her course of teaching just to address it really quickly. She said, I'm seeing a lot that are talking about having good characteristics. It's actually a neutral word. She told them to circle the word neutral. So she addressed it very quickly. She noticed that it was something her students were a little confused about, and that's definitely something I will do also. The video, gives a great example of what standardized the format is, which is the streamlining of observations by designing materials and space so that you're looking in the same consistent place every time for the data you need. Miss Ruler definitely standardizes the format by giving the students a packet to write in, which she shows how it aids in easy monitoring. She gave constant feedback. She corrected students whenever they first misunderstood the definition of disposition, and then she asked the students to revise. Personally, I have seen teachers struggle to quickly assess students. They're taking too long, and students do become disruptive, and it really it helps the class just get off track, and we don't want that. We want to get things done and the ball rolling quickly, and then we can move on to the next course of action. The next video was from Miss Hillary Lewis's class. It's affirmative checking. So affirmative checking, the few keys that I learned from this video clip were that it's okay to offer a reward to students, but you do not have to give them tangible objects. A reward can be other learning experiences. I also took away the idea that it's very important to demonstrate a value of quality over speed. Also, it's very important to keep a positive, warm tone. Whether students are getting correct answers or they're off track a little bit, we need to keep an upbeat, happy, positive tone to keep learning positive and happy. Also, I learned that we should encourage students to complete the work accurately. So Miss Lewis had a student at the very end who almost finished the math problem correctly. He just forgot to put a few of his math signs in there, and she had him go finish that before moving on to the next thing. So we want them to finish it correctly, just so they're getting in the practice of doing it correctly. This will impact my thinking because I see that rewards don't have to be tangible items. I don't have to give them a sticker from the sticker box. It can be bonus question, independent work, or other activities. And I saw in the textbook they actually suggested maybe bonus questions or other extra work, but in a happy way. We talk about it as a positive. Also, I see that we can increase efficiency if we harness the labor of our students. And our textbook talks about how we can use students to help kind of grade these assessments. We can have peer review or self-review. That's going to be appropriate probably for different grades though. The final thing that I am really changed the way I think about is the way that this method allows the students and the teacher to become aware of how well they're doing. So the student is really getting a first-hand look at where they are struggling and where they're doing just great, and they're seeing how they can adjust that. The information that I will take from this video to use in my future classroom is that I will have students complete tickets, whether it's exit tickets or tickets like in this video. It's a very quick way to see how well the students are understanding. Also, I'm going to speak in a positive, warm manner to keep students feeling comfortable and motivated. I want them to feel like the classroom's a safe and happy place where we can achieve all of our goals. Also, I'm going to use learning activities as incentives because it can create a positive attitude towards learning. I will also encourage students to complete the material correctly before moving on, just as Miss Lewis did. Now, our text actually says that one of the keys to making sure that students are make sure that students are mastering the material before moving on to more complex work. So we want to make sure they understand the beginning foundation before we add building blocks on. So my professional review is just that Miss Lewis did a great job showing what affirmative checking is, which is it's a great tool. It enables you to be constantly aware of how their students are doing, and it ensures that their actions actually reflect the data on their success. So Miss Lewis did give students a green sticky note, and she calls it a ticket. As she refers to it, she compares it to a movie ticket, which is a happy thing. That's a good thing. Kids love the movies. And she actually referred to her independent practice, which was the next activity, as the incentive, and she compared it to like going to the movie. So you have to give your ticket to go to the movie. She presents the students with a math problem that they get to work independently, and they get to bring the ticket to her when they're finished, and she checked every one, and she gave positive feedback to each student. Good job, you can move on. Even at the very end, one student had done the problem incorrectly, and she just said, you did your own work, and that's great, but can you please work the problem that's on the board? And so she never scolded them or made them feel bad. Personally, I love to know how I'm doing in a subject during different intervals of that unit. I don't like to feel insecure about how well I know the knowledge, so that's great. The final clip is called No Opt-Out, and the few keys from this video that I learned are: don't give up on students, don't let students give up on themselves, don't ridicule or embarrass them, give them guiding steps to help them mentally work the problem so they can figure out how to get to the answer. And I saw that it was kind of similar to working one-on-one with the student, but without having to pull that student aside and kind of leave the class to themselves. The information will impact my thinking because I better understand how we can address students who are either struggling or reluctant to answer, how we can do so without embarrassing them. And I see that it benefits both cases, students who are confused and also students who are reluctant. It can ensure that all students, especially reluctant ones, take responsibility for learning. It's effective in helping students who genuinely don't know the answer because it rehearses success. From this video, I will probably implement the no opt-out because it was a guide, safe and welcoming environment. It's going to promote learning. I want to use these steps to encourage students to participate and strive to reach answers, and I'm going to make them feel safe to explore the steps needed without feeling embarrassed. And I feel that it's an important part of learning and having a positive relationship with learning. My reflection on the video is that no opt-out is a way to turn I don't know into success by ensuring that students who won't try or can't answer the question, they practice getting it right. Just as this teacher does, he does not allow students to give up. He doesn't give them the opportunity to give up, and he walks them through the process to uncover the correct answer. And the key is to give them the steps so that they know how to work future problems. Personally, I have seen many times I have felt left behind and confused when a teacher just moves on in a lesson, and I would have loved to have had the opportunity for them to just speak with me for a few minutes, one-on-one, give me the steps I needed so that I didn't struggle when building on those building blocks onto that lesson. And my references, I used the textbook, which included the videos, or the video clips. All right, thank you. It's been a great course.